Good evening. Welcome to South Asia Newsline. I'm Shivangi Mishra. Here are the top stories we are tracking for you on Tuesday, the 10th of January. India initiates demolition of buildings in sinking Himalayan town. Massive protests erupt in Gilgit Baltistan over imposition of unfair taxes. And Nepal's Prime Minister Dahal wins vote of confidence in Parliament. And now for all the details. Authorities in Joshimath in India's northern Uttarakhand state on Tuesday initiated the demolition of buildings in the sinking town that have developed cracks due to the shifting soil. Residents of the town were seen tearing up as they bid a painful goodbye to their houses while staring at an uncertain future.
Authorities in Joshimath in India's northern Uttarakhand state on Tuesday initiated the demolition of buildings in the sinking town that have developed cracks due to shifting soil. Residents of the town were seen tearing up as they bid a painful goodbye to their houses while staring at an uncertain future. Reports suggest that nearly 700 houses in the town have developed cracks and some 400 people have been moved to safer locations. Authorities have divided affected areas into danger, buffer and safe zones based on the intensity of the impact and the urgency with which they should be evacuated.
लोग सब साथ ही रहते थे, कभी नहीं ऊपर घर कभी नीचे घर में जाया करते थे। अब आज अचानक से ऐसा हो गया कि हमको घर छोड़ने के लिए बोल रहे हैं। शासन प्रशासन के तो कोई वो नहीं है, सुविधा नहीं है, बस बोल दिया कि चले जाओ, सामान खाली कर दो। कहाँ जाएंगे हम? या कोई बता दो ना, ठिकाना होना चाहिए जाने का। कहाँ सामान ले जाएंगे, कहाँ पूरा परिवार बुजुर्गों को कहाँ छोड़ेंगे हम?
अभी अंदर से जायजा लिया है, तो अभी एक एसओपी तैयार करेंगे किस तरह के हम इसका जो लोड है उसको अनलोड करेंगे स्लोली और ये टॉप टू बॉटम होगा। ऊपर से शुरू करेंगे और आहिस्ते आहिस्ते हम नीचे की तरफ आएंगे। और एक दूसरा ये है जो हमारा स्लोपिंग साइड है, जो पहाड़ का झुकाव उधर है, तो उधर से हम अनलोडिंग करेंगे हर फ्लोर का, ताकि इस तरफ लोड बना रहे और building topple na.
Locals in Joshimath on Tuesday protested against National Thermal Power Corporation NTPC over Tapovan Vishnugad hydroelectric project, which was being constructed in the area. The construction has been stopped with immediate effect till further orders. Home to a population of around 25,000 people, Joshimath is facing concerns over land subsidence after what has been said to be years of untrammeled development in the area. An overnight halt for those visiting the shrines in Badrinath and Hemkund Sahib and other tourist destinations. The town has been burdened by too many hotels and resorts.
Pollution levels and dropping temperatures in India's capital New Delhi have made it difficult for early workers to step out in the morning for their exercises, as only some of them were seen venturing out on Tuesday. The air quality index in the city was recorded at 311, which is considered very poor.
Dropping temperatures and high pollution levels in India's capital, New Delhi, have made it difficult for early walkers to step out and exercise, as only a few of them were seen venturing out on Tuesday amid severe air quality. Residents of the city are already reeling under an intense cold wave and taking precautions to protect themselves from the cold, even as the city saw a drop in the air quality as well. Some people still went to parks and gardens for walks even as smog hovered over the city.
अपने प्रिकॉशन लेके चलते हैं। सर्दी की पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से तो कपड़े गर्म कपड़े पूरे पहन के चलते हैं, तो इसलिए वैसे भी पेपर में यही दिया है। असल में तो निकलना नहीं चाहिए, पेपर तो ये कहता है। और अगर यानी केस निकलते भी हैं तो पूरा अपना अरेंजमेंट करके निकलो। जैसे हमने दस्ताने पहन रखे हैं, कैप पहन रखा है और वैसे इनर पहन रखे हैं और भी गर्म कपड़े पहन रखे हैं.
The system of air quality and weather forecasting and research SAFAR said the air quality reading was at 311. Delhi government on Monday issued an order to ban plying of BS3 petrol and BS4 diesel light motor vehicles with immediate effect till January 12 or till the pollution level comes down. Authorities have brought in several measures over the years to improve Delhi's air quality and to control the burning of firewood and waste during cold weather. But experts have said these measures need to be applied across cities and towns around New Delhi that form the wider national capital region to effectively control pollution.
Pakistan's Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif on Monday asked the IMF for a breathing space over their demand for the release of financial aid, citing the catastrophic floods last year. Addressing the media, Sharif said, while Pakistan is trying to comply with the IMF conditions, he cannot impose additional burdens on the country's poorest.
Pakistan's Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif on Monday asked the International Monetary Fund (IMF) for a breathing space over their demand for the release of financial aid, citing the catastrophic 2022 floods in the country. Shehbaz, who was addressing the media post the UN-Pakistan summit, said the global lender wants Pakistan to withdraw subsidies given by his government aimed at helping the masses. Even before these floods hit Pakistan, we were facing humongous challenges, PM Sharif added. He said while Pakistan is trying to comply with the IMF conditions, he cannot impose additional burdens on the country's poorest. Pakistan's Finance Minister Ishaq Dar, on the sidelines of the UN donor summit, held a meeting with the IMF mission chief to Pakistan, Nathan Potter. In a statement, the Finance Ministry reiterated the commitment to complete the fund program.
Yet, we are committed to IMF's program. We will do everything to comply with their terms and conditions, although I am constantly trying to persuade them that please give us a pause.
In the donor summit, over $9 billion were committed by international donors to help Pakistan recover from the devastating floods last September. Among the donors were the Islamic Development Bank, World Bank, the US, EU, Saudi Arabia and France. The floods, blamed on climate change, dealt a severe blow to Pakistan's already strained economy while displacing some 8 million people and killing at least 1,700.
Moving on. Massive protests erupted recently in Gilgit Baltistan over the imposition of new taxes amid the ongoing economic crisis. The protesters said Pakistan government is imposing unjust taxes on the people in the occupied region without granting any fundamental rights to them.
Massive protests have erupted across Gilgit Baltistan over the imposition of unfair taxes by the Pakistani government amid the ongoing economic woes. In a sit-in protest in Skardu recently, led by traders and locals, the protesters said the Pakistan government is imposing taxes under various names without granting any fundamental rights to the people of the region. They said it is unjust to impose taxes in the disputed region, which is already marginalized and has been facing brunt of rising inflation. They also voiced concern over prolonged power cuts, illegal land grabbing and other issues.
गिलगित बल्तिस्तान के अवाम लावारिस नहीं हैं। इंशाअल्लाह हमने यहाँ से दोबारा राज को भगाया तो हम हमारे हुकूक हम मांग के नहीं रहेंगे, हम छीन के लेंगे, हम छीन के लेंगे।
Locals blame Pakistan has misruled the region for more than 7 decades and they are not even consulted when the government brings about any legislation. They say there is a stooge government in the region, but it only helps Islamabad fill its treasuries through economic depredations.
The Secretary General of the Norwegian Refugee Council, Jan Egeland, met with Taliban leaders on Monday and said that they cannot and will not work in Afghanistan without female staff. He said that they plan to assist 700,000 Afghans in 2023, but can only resume work when the ban on female colleagues is lifted. The Secretary General of the Norwegian Refugee Council, Jan Egeland, met with Islamic Emirates officials on Monday and said that without female staff, they cannot work and will not work in Afghanistan. Egeland said on Twitter that he met with the Taliban leaders and they are trying to find a way to get out of the current ban on female workers, which is paralyzing all humanitarian work in Afghanistan. He added that they planned to assist 700,000 Afghans in 2023 but can only resume work when the ban on female colleagues is lifted. The recent ban on female aid workers and higher education for women in Afghanistan has drawn widespread condemnation from across the globe. Since seizing control in August 2021, The Islamic Taliban has imposed hardline policies, including that women must cover their faces in public and should not leave home without a male relative if they travel more than 45 miles. Western governments have said that the group needs to reverse its course on women's rights for any paths towards formal recognition. In news from Nepal. Nepal's newly appointed Prime Minister Pushpa Kamal Dahal won the vote of confidence in the parliament on Tuesday with a record majority. Dahal, the chairman of CPN-Maoist Centre, became the Prime Minister on December 26 after securing support of 7 parties. There is a constitutional provision that the new Premier has to take a vote of confidence within 1 month of taking office. Dahal secured 268 votes in his favour as only 270 members were present in the 275-member House of Representatives. He is now expected to expand his 8-member cabinet. In news from Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka's Power Minister has informed the cabinet on Monday approved new electricity tariffs to reflect the cost of coal and power generation to take effect this month without saying how much higher they would be. A proposal of further 25% hike had earlier sparked widespread criticism from opposition parties over concerns it would severely impact the poor.
Sri Lanka's cabinet on Monday approved new electricity tariffs to reflect the cost of coal and power generation to take effect this month, Power Minister Kanchana Wijayasekara said, without saying how much higher they would be. Sri Lanka raised electricity tariffs by 75% last August, and a cabinet proposal to raise them by a further 25% had been under consideration on Monday. The island nation is struggling under its worst financial crisis in 7 decades and has to put its massively indebted public finances in order to unlock a $2.9 billion IMF loan that was agreed in September. The 25% proposal had earlier sparked widespread criticism from opposition parties, unions and Sri Lanka's power regulator over concerns it would severely impact the poor. Janaka Ratnaike, chairman of Power Regulator and Public Utilities Commission of Sri Lanka, said the cabinet's decision was accepted taking into consideration coal costs and expenses to operate hydropower plants. He also did not say how much higher they would be. Sri Lanka has a state-run power monopoly, the Ceylon Electricity Board, which has incurred massive losses. The government has committed to increasing power prices to reduce losses and put public finances on a sounder footing.
In the wake of recent targeted civilian killings in India's Jammu and Kashmir, the country's paramilitary force, CRPF, has started giving arms training to village defence guards in the Union Territory. The force has also increased deployment of troops in the region to keep a check on the security situation.
In the wake of the recent terror attack in Rajouri district of India's Jammu and Kashmir, the country's paramilitary Central Reserve Police Force CRPF has started giving weapon training to Village Defence Committee guards in the Union Territory. The training is aimed to make the VDC guards able to safeguard the villages as first responders in case of any terrorist attack. The training will help them secure several families and fill them with a sense of security, a CRPF official said. The Jammu and Kashmir administration has recently started reissuing weapons to VDC guards after demands were raised by residents following the attack in Rajouri, in which at least 4 civilians were shot dead by terrorists.
तो अभी हमारी तैनाती श्रीनगर से जो लेटेस्ट इंसिडेंट हुए हैं उसके चक्कर में यहाँ पे राजौरी में हमें यहाँ नई पोस्टिंग दी गई है और साथ में हमें ये भी टास्क दिया गया है कि जो यहाँ के VDC मेंबर हैं, जो विलेज सुरक्षा समिति के मेंबर हैं, तो उनको हम ट्रेन भी कर सकें ताकि अगर आवश्यकता पड़ती है तो ये भी विपरीत स्थिति में रिटेलिएट कर सकते हैं. तो आप देख ही रहेंगे कि हमारे जो इंस्ट्रक्टर हैं वो इनको अच्छी ट्रेनिंग भी कर रहे हैं, इनके राइफल की साफ़ सफाई के बारे में, एम लेने के बारे में अच्छी तरह दुरुस्त प्रशिक्षण दे रहे हैं ताकि आवश्यकता पड़ती है तो ये भी फायर का जवाब फायर से दे सकते हैं.
Meanwhile, the CRPF has reportedly deployed around 1,800 additional troops in Jammu and Kashmir following the killings in Rajouri. The paramilitary force has played a key role in security of the region and had neutralized 135 terrorists in 2022. India has long accused terrorists are trained and supported by Pakistan to spread unrest in Kashmir Valley. However, Islamabad denies the charge, saying it only supports people of Kashmir diplomatically.
Well, that's all we have for you from South Asia this evening. Now our viewers can watch the show on southasianewsline.com. You can also visit us on facebook.com/SAsiaNewsline and follow us on Twitter @SAsiaNewsline. That's all in tonight's edition. We will see you same time tomorrow. Good night.